Number one, the illusion of power. You think power belongs to the loud, the rich, the visible. You think it sits on thrones, behind podiums, inside boardrooms with glass walls and polished smiles. You're wrong. Power hides. It moves in silence. It studies before it strikes. And if you can't see it, it's already controlling you. Listen carefully. In today's world, power no longer wears a crown. It wears influence. It doesn't demand obedience. It engineers consent. It doesn't crush you openly. It rearranges the environment until you willingly kneel. That is the first truth you must swallow. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He wasn't teaching cruelty. He was exposing reality. He knew that morality is often a costume worn by those who already dominate the game. And today, the game is faster, digital, psychological, invisible. You are not competing with swords. You are competing with perception, attention, narrative. The modern battlefield is the human mind, and most men walk into it unarmed. You've been told to be nice, to be agreeable, to wait your turn. But the world rewards those who understand leverage, not those who beg for fairness. Power is not about shouting, it's about positioning. It's not about being liked, it's about being necessary. The man who controls outcomes rarely raises his voice. He studies desires. He maps weaknesses. He understands fear. Dark psychology is not about evil, it's about awareness. If you don't understand manipulation, you will be manipulated. If you don't recognize strategy, you will become someone else's strategy. This is not paranoia, this is pattern recognition. Look around you. Trends are manufactured. Outrage is engineered. Heroes are selected. Villains are designed. And the masses react on cue. You think you're choosing. Often, you're being guided. So here's the question. Will you remain predictable, or will you become the one who predicts? The untouchable man is not emotional. He is observant, detached, calculating, not cruel, controlled. He does not seek chaos. He studies it. He does not chase power. He becomes the axis around which others move. If that unsettles you, good. It means you're waking up. This is not about becoming a tyrant. It's about refusing to be a pawn. And by the end of this journey, you will never see the world the same way again. Number two, the law of perception. Power begins where perception bends, not where truth stands, where belief settles. Understand this now. People do not respond to reality. They respond to what they think is real, and whoever shapes that thought rules the outcome. This is the invisible throne. Niccolò Machiavelli wrote that it is safer to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Most misunderstand this. He was not glorifying cruelty. He was exposing a psychological constant. Emotion anchors memory. Fear brands deeper than affection. Respect forged in uncertainty lasts longer than admiration born from comfort. In the modern world, perception is currency. Social media proves it. Corporate branding proves it. Politics proves it. The man who appears confident is trusted. The man who appears decisive is followed, even when both are uncertain inside. So you must master the external frame, not to deceive recklessly, but to control narrative. Walk into a room with controlled silence. Speak less than necessary. Hold eye contact 1 second longer than comfort allows. These are not tricks. They are signals. Signals trigger subconscious evaluation, and evaluation determines hierarchy. Dark psychology teaches that humans constantly scan for status. Who leads? Who submits? Who influences the room? If you project doubt, you invite dominance. If you project calm certainty, you establish gravity. And gravity pulls. Do not overshare. Mystery amplifies perceived depth. The less people know about your intentions, the more space their imagination fills. And imagination, when unmanaged, often exaggerates power. That exaggeration works in your favor. But be disciplined. False image without competence collapses. Perception must be supported by capability, silent preparation, ruthless self-control. Stoicism is not weakness. It is emotional sovereignty. When you do not react, you disturb manipulators. When you do not chase validation, you become the validator. And that position is power. Remember this, most conflicts are won before they begin, in the minds of observers. If they believe you cannot be moved, they move around you. If they believe you cannot be pressured, they negotiate softer. So craft your perception like armor. Let others underestimate you verbally, but never allow them to underestimate you strategically, because the moment they realize you've been studying quietly, the hierarchy shifts. And once perception shifts, reality follows. Number 3, control the frame or be controlled. Every interaction is a battlefield of frames. A frame is the invisible structure that defines meaning. Whoever controls it controls the outcome. Most men walk into conversations reacting, defending, explaining. That is weakness. The moment you explain yourself unnecessarily, you accept the other person's frame. And once you accept their frame, you play by their rules. Niccolò Machiavelli understood that power is not about reacting to events. It is about defining them. In today's world, this principle is lethal. In business, the one who sets the agenda wins. In relationships, the one who sets standards commands respect. In public life, the one who defines the narrative controls public opinion. Dark psychology reveals a brutal truth. People rarely question the frame presented with confidence. They assume authority where they sense certainty. So you must learn to speak from assumption, not permission. Do not ask for validation. State positions calmly. When challenged, do not become defensive. Slow down, lower your tone. Ask questions that force the other person to justify themselves. The calm questioner holds the higher ground. The reactive explainer loses status. Silence is a weapon here. When you refuse to rush into defense, you communicate something powerful. You are not threatened. And the man who is not threatened is difficult to move. Masculine stoicism is not emotional suppression. It is emotional discipline. It means your feelings do not hijack your strategy. It means your ego does not expose your insecurities. Because insecurity leaks through over-talking, through over-smiling, through over-agreeing, and predators sense leaks. They test boundaries. They push subtly. A joke at your expense, a dismissive comment, a minor disrespect. If you laugh it off nervously, the frame shifts downward. If you address it calmly, without anger, without apology, you reset the hierarchy. Untouchable men do not escalate emotionally, they recalibrate strategically. Remember this, whoever reacts first loses leverage. The one who remains composed forces the other to reveal their position. And information is leverage. Your goal is not to dominate loudly. It is to anchor interactions in your tempo, your rhythm, your standards. When you control the frame, you control interpretation. When you control interpretation, you control decision-making. And when you control decision-making, you control power itself. Number 4, the strategic use of fear. Let's remove the illusion. Fear already governs the world. It moves markets, it shifts elections, it destroys reputations overnight. The question is not whether fear exists. The question is who wields it. Niccolò Machiavelli observed that men are ungrateful, fickle, deceptive, and self-interested when it suits them. That truth has not aged. Loyalty built on comfort dissolves under pressure. Loyalty built on consequence holds. Understand this clearly. Fear is not rage. It is not shouting. It is not aggression. That is insecurity masquerading as dominance. Real fear is calculated unpredictability. It is knowing that crossing you has cost. It is knowing that disrespect will not be ignored. The untouchable man does not threaten. He demonstrates boundaries once, calmly, precisely, and he enforces them without drama. Dark psychology shows that the human brain prioritizes loss over gain. People fear losing status, access, resources, connection. When you control access to something valuable, your approval, your network, your opportunities, you hold leverage. When that access is conditional upon respect, your presence becomes weighted. This is why over-availability kills authority. If you are always accessible, always agreeable, always forgiving, there is no tension. And without tension, there is no respect. Masculine stoicism strengthens this edge. When you do not react emotionally, people cannot predict your breaking point. And unpredictability creates caution. Caution breeds respect. This does not mean cruelty. It means clarity. You reward loyalty. You cut off betrayal swiftly, without public spectacle. You do not beg people to understand your standards. You enforce them silently. The world is not moved by words, it is moved by consequences. In corporate halls, in friendships, in leadership, the individual who cannot impose consequences is eventually ignored. That is the brutal law. But here is the balance. Fear without respect breeds rebellion. Respect without fear invites exploitation. The untouchable man blends both. He is fair but firm. He is calm but unmovable. His restraint signals capability. His silence signals depth. And when he does act, it is decisive. One action, clean, final. People remember that. They adjust. They tread carefully. And slowly, your name carries weight in rooms you have not entered. That is power operating through reputation. Invisible, efficient, controlled. Number 5, detachment is your shield. Emotion is the leash they will try to use on you. Anger, ego, desire, the moment they trigger it, they control you. Understand this. The easiest man to defeat is the one who needs to be understood, the one who needs to be appreciated, the one who needs to win every argument. Detachment breaks that chain. Niccolò Machiavelli warned rulers not to rely on the goodwill of others. Why? Because goodwill shifts with convenience. When you anchor your stability to external approval, you hand away leverage. Dark psychology exposes a simple pattern. Provoke, observe, exploit. Skilled manipulators test your reactions. A subtle insult, a delayed response, a contradiction. They watch your face, your tone, your speed. If you flare up, they've mapped your weakness. If you over-explain, they've found insecurity. But if you remain still, emotionally neutral, almost indifferent, they lose data. And without data, strategy collapses. Detachment is not coldness toward life. It is strategic neutrality in conflict. You care about outcomes, but you are not emotionally enslaved to them. That distinction makes you dangerous, because the man who is not desperate cannot be pressured. Desperation leaks through urgency, through overcommitment, through chasing. Stoicism trains you to pause, to assess, to respond only when it serves your objective, not your ego. Silence becomes your filter. Ask yourself in every heated moment, does this reaction increase my leverage or reduce it? If it reduces it, discard it. You are not here to win arguments. You are here to win positioning. And positioning requires patience. Observe how powerful figures operate. They rarely rush to defend themselves publicly. They let narratives swirl while they calculate privately. Because time exposes overreaction, and composure builds mystique. When you detach from the need to be liked, you become selective. When you become selective, your presence gains scarcity. Scarcity increases value, and value increases influence. The untouchable man does not cling, not to people, not to outcomes, not to validation. He can walk away, and that willingness to walk away is the ultimate negotiation tool. When they sense you are prepared to leave the table, the dynamic shifts. They lean forward, they reconsider, they compromise, because they know you are not dependent, and the man who is not dependent cannot be controlled. Number 6, master the art of strategic silence. Noise is for the insecure. Power moves in quiet. The modern world is addicted to exposure. Constant updates, constant opinions, constant reaction. But the man who speaks less sees more. And the one who sees more controls more. Niccolò Machiavelli advised rulers to conceal intention while appearing virtuous. Translation for today: reveal less than you know. Say less than you plan. Silence is not absence, it is pressure. When you pause before responding, people fill the gap with their own assumptions. And assumptions often expose their motives. Watch interrogators. Watch elite negotiators. They ask, then they wait. The discomfort forces disclosure. Most men rush to break silence because they fear awkwardness. That fear costs leverage. Dark psychology understands that humans crave resolution. When tension lingers, they speak to relieve it. If you can tolerate that tension, you gain information without revealing your own position. Information is power. Overexposure is weakness. Do not announce your next move. Do not telegraph your ambition. The element of surprise multiplies impact. Masculine stoicism sharpens this edge. You listen fully. You respond minimally. You observe micro-expressions, tone shifts, word choice. Silence trains awareness, and awareness reveals hierarchy. Notice who interrupts. Notice who defers. Notice who seeks approval through laughter. The quiet observer maps the room while others compete for attention. There is also strength in selective response. Not every challenge deserves engagement. Not every insult requires defense. When you choose not to respond, you signal something powerful. This does not threaten me. And what does not threaten you does not control you. Silence also protects your strategy. The more people know about your goals, the more they can obstruct them. Move in shadows, build quietly, execute cleanly, let results speak. The untouchable man is not mysterious for drama. He is measured for advantage. When he finally speaks, it carries weight because it is rare. His words are precise, intentional, final. People lean in because they know he does not waste breath. That is authority built through restraint. In a world screaming for attention, become the man whose silence commands it. Number 7, leverage is greater than strength. Raw strength impresses. Leverage controls. A loud man may dominate a moment. A strategic man dominates outcomes. Understand this difference and you step ahead of most competitors instantly. Niccolò Machiavelli emphasized alliances, positioning, calculated timing, never blind force. Because force without leverage burns energy. Leverage multiplies it. In modern terms, leverage is influence, information, network, skill scarcity, emotional control. The man with options cannot be cornered. The man without options must negotiate from fear. That is the brutal law. Dark psychology teaches that dependence creates submission. If someone needs you more than you need them, the balance tilts in your favor. This is why you must build value relentlessly. Financial leverage, social leverage, intellectual leverage, physical discipline. When you improve silently, your bargaining power increases without announcement. You do not beg for respect. You price yourself accordingly. And those who cannot meet that price fall away naturally. That is not arrogance, it is calibration. Weak men try to win arguments. Powerful men design environments where they do not need to argue. They control resources. They control timing. They control access. Even in conversation, leverage exists. If you are emotionally reactive, the other person controls your state. If you are calm, you control the tempo. If you are outcome independent, you control negotiation. Always ask yourself, where is the leverage here? Is it information, scarcity, authority, reputation? Build your position before you make your move. The untouchable man prepares quietly. He does not reveal desperation through urgency. He does not threaten without capability. He does not commit without advantage. Masculine stoicism reinforces this discipline. You do not chase opportunities blindly. You evaluate. You measure risk. You calculate return. Because reckless aggression destroys leverage. Strategic patience compounds it. And here is the final edge. Timing. The right move at the wrong time fails. The wrong move at the right time can still succeed. Study momentum. Study pressure. Act when others hesitate. Withdraw when others overextend. That rhythm separates pawns from players. Strength fades. Leverage compounds. Build the kind of position where your mere presence shifts dynamics. Where negotiations tilt before you speak. Where absence is felt more than noise. That is real power. Number 8, reputation, your invisible army. You cannot be everywhere, but your reputation can. And if built correctly, it fights battles before you even arrive. Niccolò Machiavelli understood that a ruler's image often secured obedience more efficiently than force. Today, the battlefield is larger, faster, digital. One story about you can open doors or close them permanently. That is why reputation is not vanity, it is strategy. Dark psychology reveals a critical truth. Humans rely on shortcuts when judging others. They don't investigate deeply. They rely on patterns, rumors, signals. If your name is associated with discipline, competence, and consequences, people approach you carefully. If your name is associated with inconsistency or emotional instability, they test you. Reputation is built through patterns, repeated behavior, consistent standards, calm enforcement. The untouchable man does not act differently depending on the audience. His code is stable, predictable in principle, unpredictable in execution. That combination builds psychological weight. Masculine stoicism strengthens this foundation. You do not defend yourself against every whisper. Over-defense signals insecurity. Instead, you live in a way that contradictions collapse on their own. When false narratives arise, your established pattern invalidates them. That is power, but understand this. Reputation must be intentional. If you are careless with your words, your promises, your alliances, your emotional reactions, you weaken your invisible army. Every compromise of your standard chips at authority. Every emotional outburst lowers perceived control. Every broken commitment reduces trust leverage. Guard your name like territory, because once it is diluted, rebuilding is expensive. And remember, fear without respect makes you a threat. Respect without strength makes you a tool. Your reputation must carry both. Fair but firm, calm but decisive, strategic but ethical within your own code. When people speak of you in rooms you are not in, what do they say? Do they mention reliability, precision, discipline, or unpredictability in a chaotic sense? The goal is simple. When your name is mentioned, the room adjusts slightly. Posture shifts, tone changes, because they know dealing with you requires preparation. That is when your reputation becomes an invisible army enforcing boundaries before you even lift a finger. Number 9, ruthless self-command. Before you command rooms, you command yourself. If you cannot control your impulses, your appetites, your moods, you are already conquered. Most men want influence without discipline, authority without sacrifice, power without restraint. That fantasy keeps them average. Niccolò Machiavelli observed that fortune favors the bold, but boldness without preparation invites ruin. Self-command is preparation. It is waking up when you don't feel like it, training when no one is watching, studying when distraction tempts you, controlling desire when indulgence is easy. Dark psychology makes this simple. Every weakness you fail to master becomes a lever someone else can pull. Lust, greed, ego, vanity, addiction to validation. These are entry points. The untouchable man audits himself ruthlessly. Where can I be compromised? Where do I overreact? Where do I seek approval? He eliminates leaks, because leaks drain power. Masculine stoicism is not about suppressing emotion. It is about governing it. Anger becomes fuel, not explosion. Fear becomes data, not paralysis. Desire becomes direction, not distraction. When you master your internal state, external pressure loses its grip. Negotiations cannot shake you. Insults cannot destabilize you. Temptations cannot derail you. This level of self-command creates psychological dominance. People sense it. They feel the steadiness, and steady men become anchors in chaos. But understand, this requires isolation at times. Discipline is often lonely. Growth is quiet. There will be moments when you must deny short-term pleasure for long-term positioning. That is the trade. Weak men choose comfort. Powerful men choose control. Control compounds. Over time, your consistency builds an unbreakable identity. You know who you are. You know what you tolerate. You know what you pursue. That certainty radiates, and certainty attracts followers, allies, and opportunities. The final truth is harsh. The world does not need more emotional men reacting to headlines. It rewards disciplined men executing strategy. If you cannot rule your habits, you cannot rule outcomes. Self-command is the foundation. Without it, everything else collapses. With it, nothing easily moves you. Number 10, become untouchable. Now you understand. Power is perception, frame, fear, detachment, silence. leverage, reputation, self-command. None of it is accidental. All of it is engineered. Niccolò Machiavelli did not teach men to be evil. He taught them to see clearly. And clarity is dangerous in a world built on illusion. You are not here to dominate blindly. You are here to position intelligently. The untouchable man is not the loudest in the room. He is the one others measure themselves against. He does not chase attention. Attention gravitates toward him. Why? Because he is controlled. Because he is precise. Because he does not leak emotion where strategy is required. Dark psychology is not about manipulation for chaos. It is about understanding human nature without romantic filters. People respond to strength. They test weakness. They respect boundaries that are enforced. They follow certainty. Once you accept that, you stop being surprised. You start preparing. Masculine stoicism sharpens this final edge. You move without arrogance. You build without announcement. You enforce without drama. When challenged, you assess, not react. When insulted, you evaluate, not explode. When pressured, you slow down, not rush. That tempo separates predators from prey. Remember this, the goal is not to be feared by everyone. It is to be respected by those who matter and unpredictable to those who would test you. Your emotions are yours. Your plans are yours. Your standards are non-negotiable. You walk into rooms with calm eyes and controlled breath. You listen more than you speak. You strike only when necessary. And when you do, it is decisive, clean, final. That is untouchable energy, no desperation, no validation seeking, no public emotional spirals, just discipline, strategy, execution. From this moment forward, observe more, react less, build leverage daily, guard your name, master your impulses, control the frame. Let others reveal themselves while you remain composed. This is how power really works today. Not loud, not obvious, but absolute for the man who understands it. If this awakens something in you, then you're ready. Like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and step into the game prepared, not naive.